If you're moving to the area and not looking to live right in the district, what are your options? Hey team, if you're new to the channel, my name is Emily Howlett and I'm a local real estate agent here in Virginia and Maryland. A lot of times, moving to DC means that you actually end up in a suburb rather than the actual district. So what are some of the more popular suburbs? Let's find out. Bethesda is an unincorporated community just northwest of DC and is one of the better known spots in the metro area. It's known to locals as a place for great food, great shopping, and for having a vibrant arts and entertainment district. In case you want some tried and true shops along with the unique spots, don't be concerned. Along with all the exclusive food and shopping options, you'll find all the standard big box retailers, restaurants, and grocery stores. While not as urban as DC, it does still have a fairly urban vibe to it, so it's great if you're looking for more updated buildings and amenities. On average, the cost of living can be a bit higher than DC, but it also depends on where you're living in each spot to determine whether it will cost more or less and by how much. As far as getting around town, if you're planning to rely on public transit, Bethesda has several metro stops as well as a pretty solid bus system. The downtown is especially pedestrian friendly, but other than that, it will be much easier to get around with a car. If you're going to be commuting into DC by car, the drive times can vary, but during a standard morning commute, you could be looking at anywhere from 20 minutes to nearly an hour. Just a bit north of Bethesda, we find Kensington. Kensington is a very small suburb of DC. With only about 2,100 people, it's one of the smallest popular suburbs and is known as a Victorian-era garden suburb, originally built to imitate the styles of an English garden district. How do you feel about living in a garden suburb? Let me know in the comments. Because it's so small, there aren't as many restaurants or grocery stores, but they do still have plenty to choose from. With the garden environment, Kensington tends to feel more suburban and still has a good dash of urban thrown in. It's a good choice if you're looking for solid amenities, but less of a city feel. And how does it compare in price to living in DC? Overall, the cost of living is just about the same. The downtown area is pretty easy to traverse as a pedestrian, and while there aren't any metro stops directly in the city, there are several bus options to get around with. Commuting from Kensington to DC is a bit longer than some of the other suburbs, with a standard morning commute ranging anywhere from just under a half hour to over an hour. Silver Spring is next up on the list and sits east of Bethesda and just north of DC. Known as the culture and art hub of Montgomery County, it's the location of colorful murals, community destinations, and several performance venues. Additionally, Silver Spring has a lot of one-of-a-kind restaurants and shopping to choose from, alongside the standard stores and restaurants that you'll find in most other places. The area has a decent mix of urban and suburban type areas, so you should be able to find something that fits the vibe you're looking for. As a big bonus, living in Silver Spring is, on average, about 13% cheaper than DC proper. So if you're looking to save some money, this might be a good option to check into. To get around Silver Spring, there's one metro stop as well as several bus routes. As with both Bethesda and Kensington, the downtown area is great for pedestrians, but once you get outside of those town centers, it's much easier to get around with a car. If you're going to be commuting into DC, it's a pretty straight drive down, but you'll still be looking at a drive of anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. Hyattsville is situated just northeast of DC, only a couple short miles from the DC-Maryland border. The city has undergone a pretty major redevelopment over the past 20 or so years, meaning that there are a lot of new residential and retail additions to the area. There are a good number of unique restaurants and shops, and there are also all of the big-name places you'd expect to see. There are some areas that feel more urban, like the shopping centers, but there are also a lot of tree-lined suburban feeling spots as well. Hyattsville is another great option if you're looking to save some money, as it's on average about 15% less expensive than living in DC. For getting around, there are big chunks of town that are pretty pedestrian friendly, as well as some areas that would be better accessed by car. There are also 2 metro stops in town, along with a decent number of bus routes. The commute by car into DC is one of the easier routes, as you can go straight into the city using Route 50 or Route 1. Even still, with traffic, it will likely be anywhere from about 20 minutes to an hour to get to the heart of DC. National Harbor is a fair bit south of DC and sits right on the Potomac River. It's known for a wide variety of shops, restaurants, and entertainment venues, as well as a Capitol wheel that overlooks the DC metro area. While there's plenty to do and tons of places to eat at, a lot of the venues tend to be unique shops rather than the big-name stores you see in other places. Instead, you'll likely need to head over to a neighboring town to find the big-name places. National Harbor definitely has a strong urban feel to it, so if you're looking for new and modern construction, this is a great option. Even though it's new and shiny, and you might expect it would be expensive, similar to Hyattsville, National Harbor is a great choice to look at if you're interested in saving some money. It's an average of nearly 19% less expensive than if you lived in DC. As a pedestrian, National Harbor is great to get around in, but there aren't many public transit options. There's no metro stop in National Harbor, but a new bus route that travels to Alexandria connects bus riders to the blue and yellow metro lines. If you'll be commuting into DC by car, you'll be looking at a trip of 25 minutes to just over an hour. The first of the Virginia suburbs that we'll talk about, Falls Church City, is directly west of DC. For clarity, there's a Falls Church City and a Falls Church County. Today, I'll be talking only about Falls Church City. Falls Church is a fairly small city with only about 14,000 people. It's known as an urban village with a ton of community activities and a focus on environmental awareness. While it does have a strong urban feel to it, you'll also get a good bit of suburban feel as well. You'll find tons of unique shops, restaurants, and stores, but also many of the familiar big-name brands. Falls Church is great for pedestrians, especially in the central downtown areas. There are 2 metro stops and a good number of bus routes to make getting around even easier. If your commute to DC involves a car, you'll be looking at a trip time of anywhere from 20 to 50 minutes. In terms of cost, Falls Church is on average actually pretty close to DC costs, although it technically is just over 3% more expensive. Next up on the Virginia side, Arlington is directly east across the river from DC, making it one of the closer suburbs to choose from. Famous for being the home of the Pentagon and Arlington National Cemetery, Arlington has a mix of urban and suburban environments. North Arlington tends to be more urban, while South Arlington tends to be a little more suburban, although that has been changing a bit in the past few years. There's a great mix of unique as well as big box shops, restaurants, and entertainment venues, so you'll always have plenty of choices. There are large swaths of Arlington that are great for pedestrians, although there are some sections, especially in the most northern areas, that are better accessed by car. Arlington has a whopping 10 metro stations and a ton of bus lines, meaning that getting around with public transit is a breeze. A commute into DC by car can range anywhere from 15 to 40 minutes. In terms of expense, Arlington is an average 7% more expensive than DC, so not really too different. Alexandria is south of DC and is known for its small-town vibe and its embrace of its port city status. Alexandria is definitely more of a suburban location, although there are some pockets that can feel more urban. There are plenty of one-of-a-kind shops and restaurants, and there are also all of the big-name places you might expect in a city. The city is very pedestrian-friendly, especially downtown, but there are some areas where it's easier to access with a car. For public transit, there are 5 metro stops and tons of bus routes to choose from. For your commute into DC, the trip from Alexandria to the heart of the district can be anywhere from just under 20 minutes to nearly 45 minutes long. The cost compared to DC is pretty close, but Alexandria ekes out a win by being on average about 7% less expensive. Last up in our list is Springfield. Located to the southwest of DC, Springfield is known for its balanced mix of business and leisure, as well as easy access to plenty of outdoor activities. It's one of the few locations I'll talk about that is mostly suburban. As with most of the other locations, there's a good mix of unique shops and restaurants, as well as brand name places to choose from. Unlike a lot of the other places, it's very much a car-dependent location. There are some areas that are good for pedestrians, but not a ton. Additionally, there's only one metro stop and limited bus routes. If you're driving into the district, living in Springfield results in one of the longer commutes. It could take you anywhere from 25 minutes to just over an hour. In terms of cost, Springfield is about on par with DC, but is still 5% less expensive on average. We've covered quite a few suburbs of DC today. Is one of them what you're looking for? Are none of them the right pick? Let me know either way in the comments. And if you'd like to have a more personalized conversation about what could be a good fit for you, send me a text or email, or even just give me a call to go over the specifics of your situation. In the meantime, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more like it.